Welcome to Divine Intervention, The Couch. I am Caroline Hill, CEO of Divine Intervention and Triple H Ministries. Tonight, I have a very special guest, and her name is Miss Brianna Lewis. Welcome, Miss Brianna. How are you doing tonight?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for tuning in. I know we had a little communication mix up, but part two, you will be on my couch, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So tell me about where you work and what do you do?
So, I am a sexual health educator. I currently work for Planned Parenthood.
Uh huh.
Planned Parenthood, I'm sure, many of you are familiar with the organization. We are a sexual health organization providing reproductive health services to not just women, but men as well.
Right. Now, what do you love about your job?
Well, I love talking about all things related to sexual health. I love that I get to go in and educate people on different topics surrounding sex and just normalize having conversations surrounding sex.
How long have you been doing this?
About well, with Planned Parenthood, about 2.5 years, but
Okay.
in general, maybe about 5 years.
Okay. What were you doing before?
So all of the work that I've done before Planned Parenthood was just graduate school work or just my own research and studying on sexual health. So a lot of my knowledge prior to Planned Parenthood was more research. And then I started working for Planned Parenthood, which is when I started working in the field.
Okay. Now we know Planned Parenthood deals with abortion. Tell me, how do you feel about that?
For me, I feel like a woman has the right to make decisions for her own body. And because we are a reproductive health service organization that provides abortion services, I think that it's important to make sure that we allow them to do it safely and effectively. So I don't feel either way about it. I feel like at the end of the day, it's that woman's choice. It's her body, it's her choice. And I'm glad that I work
She, she got cut off.
Okay.
to support, women who would like to seek our services.
Okay. So I know you get a lot of negative feedback in reference to Planned Parenthood when it comes to abortion. And when you have a conversation with someone that may give you some negative feedback in reference to abortion, how do you deal with that?
Honestly, I don't care. People are gonna have their opinions, and for me, this is my career choice. If you don't support Planned Parenthood, that's absolutely fine. Our doors will still be open. So it definitely does not affect me one way or the other because I know the good that we do. And a lot of people always like to assume that, oh, you guys are an abortion clinic, you kill black babies. And that is not true. We are so much more than an abortion service provider. We provide other services. We do STD testing. We do birth control options. You can come to Planned Parenthood and get a pap smear. All of those things are about sexual health. In addition to that, I work in the education department. A lot of people do not even know that we have an education department. And in the education department, we are like the image of Planned Parenthood because as an educator, I go out into the community and we teach people about sexual health and knowing their reproductive rights so that they know the services and just the different options that are available out there to them, and that Planned Parenthood is definitely a resource, especially for young people, because we definitely like to support young people because we want their voice to be heard as well.
Right. Now, when it comes to hurt, harm, and danger, when it comes to Planned Parenthood, we know it has, you guys have been in the news for a very long time. And how do you feel about your safety when it comes to working for that business?
That is a great question. I know that my family often worries about my safety. However, I feel like in today's society, you can work for any organization and not be safe. You know, there are a lot of mass shootings that happen, the movie theaters, the malls. So, you know, for me, it's just another part of life. While I know that Planned Parenthood is more likely to be targeted, um, you know, that's just the risk that I take because I'm absolutely passionate about the work that I do.
Right. Now, are you licensed to carry?
I need to be.
You need to be, my sister. You need to have
I
that
absolutely need to
carry.
be.
That's for your protection at the end of
Let
the
me
day.
put that on my to-do list.
Please put that on your to-do list. You know, that's a sister's right. Have that license to carry to make sure at any given time. You just never know the way the world going is on today. And we know Black lives do matter. And we have to make sure you protect yourself.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree.
Tell me about your podcast.
About the podcast.
Yes.
So, um, one of my coworkers, I actually met her through Planned Parenthood. She works in our Jacksonville office, and she came to me and was like, "Bree, I want to do a podcast." And I was like, "Okay." I
Uh-huh.
didn't know what I was really saying okay to. I was just like, "Okay." So we started recording, and as we made progress, I was like, "Dang, like this is good. Like we're doing good. We did everything ourselves, you know, the editing and all of that." And then she was like, "You know, what are we gonna name this?" And so we came up with the name Calm Diaries. So
Okay, let me stop you from there. Calm Diary. Now, when you hear that name, you're already thinking sex, 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 sex. Now,
absolutely. Absolutely. We came up with that name because we felt like you said, we want people to be like, "Calm Diaries, what's that about? Let me click on this and listen to this." We know that, you know, it's an attention grabbing name. And also our purpose, like we want, as women in particular, the podcast is for everyone, but women in particular, we want them to feel free and comfortable with their sexuality. So the things that we talk about are liberating for women. We want them to feel like it's okay to explore your sexuality. It's okay for you to liberate your vagina. It's okay for you to be a hoe. You know, it's okay for you
it's
to
okay to be whatever you want to be. You be a
absolutely,
hoe, you be a hoe. You can be a
absolutely.
thought, you be a thought. Whatever you do, you do, but you do it safely.
Exactly. And that's our goal. We just want women to feel liberated. We want them to feel like it's okay for them to be sexually free. And we want them to feel like they are in control of their bodies and they get to dictate how they enjoy their sexuality.
Right. Now, you just said a mouthful. Enjoying sexuality. You like women or men or both?
For me personally, I
Yeah.
like men. I'm attracted to women physically. I don't mind saying, "Oh, she looks good, she's fine," but my romantic preferences are definitely males.
Okay, so now you were married at one time, right?
Correct.
Okay. For how
I'm
long?
single.
I see, girl. With that podcast, I don't know how long you're gonna stay single, unless you're gonna just be a thought girl and just do your thing. But however, I would
Definitely.
like I would like to know, being single and a mother of a son,
Uh-huh.
having a podcast as such as yours is
Uh-huh.
very open. And
Yeah.
if you talk with older women, they may feel as if you are doing a little bit too much. But however, you have so many women the age that I am still ready to get her groove on.
Okay.
Still ready to get it together. You know what I mean? And your Come Diary is a gateway for us to be able to get our sexy back. Because, I done went through a divorce. I done did that, done that. And now, I am looking. So
Okay.
listen to the
Okay.
woman. Now, let me tell you this about you being a single woman now. And I heard on
Oh
Sip and
Lord.
Talk, with Charles Jackson and Lorenzo Robinson. Now tell me about your deal, though, girl.
My dildo.
Your deal. What you call him?
What do I call my dildo?
Yeah, don't you play with it?
The rabbit? I mean, I
Rabbit.
didn't really
I
name it.
rabbit. I know about the beaver. I know about all that. But tell me, do you have a special name for Johnny, or is it what?
Actually, I did not name it. I did not name it. I mean, no, at the time, it's whoever I want him to be.
I get you. I get you. I get you. I get
Exactly.
you. Long as do the job, though, right?
Absolutely.
I get you. Now, have you ever thought about having a threesome?
I have. I have. I feel like really, I think it's crossed everyone's mind. Just the curiosity in general. I think people are just afraid because of what, their friends might think or just somebody finding out. But yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think all women and all men always have that thought in the back of their mind about a threesome. Some men want it as a birthday gift from their wife. That would never happen. But however, us women, of course, give us two men, especially when they got it going on down there. When they packing, girl, they can go to town.
But see, this is the thing though. When it's two men, it is always considered a gang bang, not a threesome. Like it's never referred to as a threesome when there are multiple men with one woman, as opposed to the other way around. Like, you know what I'm saying?
One guy, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's just one of those double standard
It's,
things.
it's a double standard, but it's okay to have a double standard with that, though.
I feel like at the end of the day, again, do you. If you want to experience sex with multiple men at one time, do you. Just make sure all adults are consenting adults. And that's my thing about it.
That's so true. Now, I want to ask you this question: do you spit or swallow?
You definitely have been listening to Calm Diaries podcast.
Honestly, I haven't all the way. I heard a couple, but you know what, girl? All this is in me. It's coming out tonight. Talk to me, girl.
For me, it depends. It depends. Sometimes I swallow, sometimes I spit. It just depends on how healthy he has been eating.
Yeah, because you can taste it, so it depends. Because
Absolutely.
some of
Absolutely.
that aftertaste that don't taste so good, and some of it you can just swallow it on up, tastes like pineapple. So I get it. I get that. So as your son grow up, how do you think he would feel once he looked back at Mama's podcast?
So this is the thing. I normalize sexuality in my household. That's just my parenting style that I choose. And I feel like I'm not going to make it seem like, oh, sex is just this bad thing. You shouldn't talk about it. And again, you have to remember the things that I talk about, that doesn't necessarily mean I've done every single thing. However, I let people know my opinion. I like to present different options so people can see a different perspective. So at the end of the day, he don't know what I really done, what I really haven't done. That
Right.
part is my business. However, I am not ashamed of any of the work that I do because I know that there are females out there who are benefiting from this podcast. They are feeling more confident about themselves. They are more willing to explore their sexualities and, like you said, get their groove back. So for me, I take pleasure in knowing that I'm helping others out there. And my son, when he's able to come of age and if he ever runs across it and listens to, the work that I do, I will hope that my son is like, that's my mama. Like my mama is out here making a difference in people's lives. And that's how I feel about it. I normalize talking about sex in my household.
Okay. A question. It's gonna get personal right now.
Okay.
By you being a new divorcee, and was sex part of the problem you divorced, or was it something else?
It was not sex. Sex was not the issue. It was something else. It was, him and I got married young.
Yeah.
Um, and we just, I don't know, we both became two different people. We both started having different interests. And by different interests, I mean interests as far as the goals that we have that we want to accomplish, as
Right.
as new people.
Right. And that does happen. It happens when you're young and you begin to grow apart sometimes. And it's best to, separate for peace sake instead of
As-
staying with something and be miserable at the end of the day. So I get that.
Exactly. So one thing, I do love that I am fortunate. We both are fortunate that it ended amicably. We are still great friends. We co-parent extremely well. We get along very well. Everything is good with us. We just realized, hey, this marriage thing is not working out for us. And now that I think about it, I don't even really think it's about age, because I don't want anyone out there who got married young feeling like, oh, so what? I'm gonna get a divorce too because we're gonna grow apart. Like, that's not the message that I'm trying to portray. But for us, it just, we grew apart. Some people can stay, married at 18 and they be together forever. And in my situation, we had came to the conclusion like, hey, this is just not working anymore, and that's just what it is.
Right. I mean, it's each his own, and everybody has their own story
Absolutely.
at the end of the day. Now, what I would like to ask you, being a young lady, and do you think men would be intimidated by you since you have Calm Diary?
I would hope not. I would hope that my man is secure enough to know that, hey, this is work. This is what I do. This is what I'm passionate about. So I am going to continue doing this before you and after you, if you don't, if you don't make it. Um, I do feel like maybe low key, a man could have insecurities like, oh, my girl is out here talking about our sex life or what she doing or whatever. But that's why for me, dating is something that I'm going to take slowly, take it as it comes, because I can't have anyone that's trying to hold me back. I have to be with someone that genuinely supports the work that I'm doing, the goals that I want to accomplish. And Calm Diaries is one of those goals. And speaking of Calm Diaries, I think it would be a great idea, for us to bring JD on at one point so that we can really dive deep into Calm Diaries.
Oh, of course. There will be a part two, and I will invite you and him out again. But right now, girl, I want to get all in your world.
No, I wasn't deflecting.
Get all
I'm
in
not. We
your
can
world,
definitely
honey.
get into my world. I thought of that idea, like, but yeah, let's get in my world then.
Now I know that you are a AKA, right?
I am.
And I mean, back in my day when I went to college and all of that, all the AKAs was the pretty girls, the ones that was stuck up. But like they say, you can be a freak in the sheets, and you sound like you one of those.
Listen to Calm Diaries podcast and you'll find out.
Girl, I mean, hey, you out in the open, and it's okay to be out in the open. Love
Yes.
yourself, And if he can't love you, find another one that can.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So, what are you expecting to gain from your podcast if someone view your podcast, what are you expecting them to get out of it besides, loving themselves and getting a dildo like the rabbit or the beaver or little Johnny, however, 6 inches, 3 inches, or two, depending on how they feel,
Right.
what they expect. But what do you expect them to really pull from your podcast and really take in and know that they can be like Stella, get your groove on.
So, one of the biggest things is that we incorporate education into the podcast. So, it's not just about, oh, these two girls sitting here talking about sex. We both have a background in sexual health. We both have our masters of public health degrees. So, we have an extensive knowledge of, the different things that we talk about. We actually do research to help support the things that we say. We don't just get on here and talk about opinions. Of course, we talk about our opinions, but we also have facts as well, medically accurate information about the things that we discuss. And then also, we want to strike conversation. We want people to listen to our podcast and say, hey, JD is crazy. Did you hear what she said on that podcast? Or Bree is insane. I would never do that. We want to start a conversation. We want to give different perspectives on different topics and situations and just allow people to have different perspectives about the way they handle situations and the different things that we talk about. They can talk about, I know some of our listeners listen with their girlfriends. Like, girls get together, they listen to the podcast. Couples listen to the podcast. we've gotten feedback about, oh my gosh, this podcast was so good. I listened to it on my way to work. This is what I like to do. We have, people who say, oh, me and my girl listen to this podcast, every Friday or whatever. So that's the point. Like, we want conversation and we want you to take away knowledge, something that you learned that you did not know, and that's accurate information.
Right. What's the smallest penis you ever had?
The smallest?
Yeah.
I ain't never really had sex with anyone who's been small. I mean, I guess I just been fortunate, but I've been pleased by all of my sexual partners.
Well, I guess, girl, you had to measure up some. I guess they were 6 or more, girl. I ain't mad at you. Or fit it up like a horse.
But see, this is the thing. I also try to feel that out before, engaging, before getting that far.
I get that. That's right. You got to make sure he right before you give it up, girl.
Absolutely. That's why you do foreplay. That's why well, for me, I flirt. I feel around. Oh, nah.
Yes, yes, Lord. You got to feel around because you mess around and get a little baby peanut and you looking for Mr. Elephant, baby, and you ain't having it around.
But this is
girl, look at here.
This is the thing too, though. For size really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
I ain't gonna lie. Yes, it does.
No, I think it depends on if they know what to do with it. You can have a small penis and you can still please your woman. Everybody is different.
Ooh, honey, I ain't there yet, but keep going. Go ahead. I'm trying to imagine that, but I'm not there.
So just remember, the vagina is only about 4 inches, so it's able to expand and contract. So during sex, it dilates, it expands, it lubricates to fit the object that is going inside of it. So if a penis is 4 inches, it still fits into the vagina. You're still gonna feel it. Now again, it's up to how you are making the sex. Sex is what you make it. If it's whack, it's just whack. But if he know how to please you, if he's stroking right, he's hitting it right, or whatever, then that works for you. That's why communication about sex is important too. You have to let him know, like, hey, I don't like when you do it like this. Maybe hitting it from the back is not our position because I can't feel nothing when you hit it from the back. Maybe we should do this position. Maybe let me sit on it, and maybe let me ride this way. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about how you make the experience.
Right. I mean, hey, throw me on the dresser, slap me something, or do something. Just make me feel good, right? But what about oral sex?
What about it?
I know some individuals may not like it, and they prefer oral than regular. What's your thoughts on that?
When you say they prefer oral,
they prefer to have oral sex than anything else.
I mean, that's their preference. I mean, for me personally, I enjoy oral sex. I enjoy vaginal sex. So I mean, I like it. I like both, but I think that again, that's to the woman's preference or whoever is performing the oral sex, the male, the female, whatever, is their preference as to whether or not they like it. I know some people. This is the thing about oral sex too. Some people just give oral sex just to please their partner. That doesn't work. And what I mean by that is they're just doing oral sex to go through the motions. Like, you're just sucking to go through the motions. You're just eating to go through the motions. Like, you have to truly enjoy it yourself for it to be pleasurable to your partner. Because if you are sitting giving me head and you don't really like it, it's whack. And if I'm giving you head and I'm just going through the motions, like, oh, okay, let's get this over with. Okay, well, I sucked it. Like, that's whack. He's not going to enjoy that experience. So right. I do believe you have to truly enjoy it yourself, even though it's for the pleasure of the other person. You have to find pleasure in it as well for it to be, the maximum effectiveness, for it to be good.
And that is so correct. Now, have you ever faked a climax?
I didn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
I said, have you ever faked a climax, an orgasm? Have you ever faked one?
No,
I
no,
don't
I
know what
don't
you
believe in
got
faking
going on.
orgasms. I don't fake orgasms. I don't believe in fake moaning. I feel like I'm not going to give you what you want to hear. You have to, make me go there. You have to make me go there, or I have to truly feel like, oh my God, this is good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even understand how you fake an orgasm. I can't fake that.
Oh
I
yes,
can't fake that.
it's easy. I mean, it depends
For
on
me,
you.
I
It,
can't.
let me teach
I've
you
never been a woman.
let me teach you something, honey. I'm 51 years old, and I don't fake many. Reason why is yes, I'm just being real with you. You can fake them because you know what? Maybe you not be really in tune into him, or you married, you've been married a long time, and he's not spicing up anymore. And Johnny done shrunk a couple times and not getting as hard because his health may have shrinked it or not allowed to get hard. So you try to go through to keep the marriage right, but at the end of the day, you have to figure it out, girl.
But this is the thing, though. To your point, a lot of times that usually is the case. You've been married for a long time, and you have to spice things up. You have to spice things up. Like you can't have the same. Oh, first I'm gonna first we're gonna do oral sex. Then we're gonna do missionary. Then we're gonna end with me hitting you from the back. You can't make sex a routine. It has to be spontaneous. You have to keep it fun. Keeping it fun can mean, oh, let's have a threesome, let's have a foursome, let's do this. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely have to keep it spontaneous. And again, that goes back to communication. Communicate with your partner. Let them know, hey, I'm bored in our sex life. That could be a hard conversation. Again, tune in to Come Diaries podcast. We discuss all of these different things. How to tell your partner that the sex is whack. Have a conversation with them. That can be a hard conversation, but it's definitely a necessary conversation because again, communication really is the foundation to a healthy relationship, and that means communicating about sex as well. If you're not pleased, let your partner know. Y'all can work through it together, figure out different things that can spice it up, and that can look different for everybody. It can literally be as simple as, oh, let's start using sex toys together, and boom, now that's a whole nother door open that you all have never explored before, but it's something that's spicing it up for you all. So that can look different for every couple. It's just all about talking and seeing, how can we spice this up? What do you like? What do I like? Let's try this. Let's do this.
Right. But let me ask you this question. Now, I heard everything that you just said, and but it's each his own in reference to the relationship and how long you've been in it and what both parties agree to. But
Hmm.
we have certain men or even women set in their ways. Sometimes it's very hard to get through to them to have that conversation or even to bring in other things. Because sometimes if you tell your old man that, look, let's go get a toy, that he may feel like he's not measuring up, and
So
then you
that's his
the toy,
insecurity.
then
His
you didn't want him.
insecurity and his problem. And that can happen a lot. A lot of men do feel like, well, why you got to bring a toy in the bedroom? Like, am I not pleasing you? Like, no, you're not. That's why I'm bringing this toy. Like, we need to spice this up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's on him to deal with his own insecurities. If he is not open, and sex is a big deal in relationships. A lot of people like to downplay sex, but it absolutely is a big deal in relationships. And if your partner is not open to coming to a mutual grounds with understanding and being open to exploring new things, then maybe you do have to consider other options. Like, hey, maybe we need to, have an open relationship. Let me have sex with somebody else since you don't want to do this. Give me a hall pass, whatever, to have both of our met, because it shouldn't just be one person that has to suffer sexually because the other party is not interested. There are different options. Like I said, hall passes,
Right.
exploring,
But
di-
hall passes may work for certain generations. It will not work for all generations because you have some men or some women say, you know what? If it's not just me, it ain't nobody. So it may
yeah.
work. Hall passes may work for certain generations, but we talking about the older generations that got set in their ways. They don't. A man don't want another man touching his woman because he gonna touch her better than the one that you got at the house. Now, let me tell you, I'm going to say this. I'm hypothetically speaking. If my old man ain't doing it right at home and he give me a pass, and I go out there and find Johnny Longboat, and Johnny Longboat got it going on, you think I want to go back home? No, not me. Johnny Longboat will be getting every night, and he barely may get it or smell it. Oh, what I'm saying is, we still have to make sure, because it also can lead to domestic violence. You know, it can lead to other things by giving a person a pass because jealousy will set in, you know, malice will set in, and all these other things will set in that will cause other issues. And we don't need no issues because the thing about that is somebody may end up hurt or dead. So we also have to make sure we wind it back a little bit. And even though certain generations may say, okay, I give you 3 passes, my generation say you're a damn lie. You ain't getting no pass. I'm just saying. So I'm just saying, because it depends on the generation of individuals, their mindset, you know?
So that's absolutely true. And again, remember that I brought up the hall pass in a situation for like, I tried to talk to you. I told you I'm not enjoying this sex. You don't want to change, so don't let me suffer. Let me go out and explore somebody else. That's my first point. And then my second point is, you mentioned, oh, he is sexing me good, why would I want to go back home? A lot of times, just because we seek sex from somebody else doesn't mean that we want to leave our spouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people can separate the sex from everything else. Like, okay, yeah, I'm having sex with you. This is good sex, but no, my husband take care of me. My husband, we're vested. We got assets together. I'm not going nowhere. Like, this is just sex. And some people are able to do that. And for those who are not, then maybe that situation is not for you. But
Oh,
some people know how to separate sex and make it just sex. Like, hey, this is, look at Jada and August. That is
oh,
a
let's
very
talk about
oversaturated conversation. So
Jada and Will got their own issues going on. Neither one of them was faithful from the beginning. They just painted that perfect picture. But as we could see, now everything is coming out. The old saying is, what don't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse. That means your truth will be told by somebody else, and it won't be told by you. But the thing about
but
it
here's the thing, though. It's their relationship. It's their relationship. It only came out because the third party put it out for the world to see.
right,
However, we don't know the communication that they had in their relationship. From my understanding, Will was totally, like, he knew Jada was out there, just like Will had stepped out, and Jada knew about it. It's speculated that they have an open marriage. So that's between them. That's what communication is all about. They have conversations. To me, it appears as though they are best friends. They can communicate and talk to each other. Jada, hey, I'm bored, Will. I want to try something different. And Will is like, you know what? You right. Go do you. I'm giving you my blessing. Whatever. We don't know the dynamics of the conversation. But the thing is, whether it's a secret or not, who cares? Like, if that's what they do, that's what they do to keep their relationship fresh. Let them do them. It's not for us, society, the people on the outside looking in, to judge them for what they do. That's their relationship. And they
right.
have to do what
That's
makes
true.
them happy. Every relationship is your own relationship. There are not any rules to relationships. There are not any, you create your own standards and boundaries and rules in your relationship.
Right. But let me
And
ask
that's
you,
what Will and Jada do. I
right.
love it.
I mean, everybody has a choice how their relationship end up at the end of the day, whether they just stay together and have a good marriage or whatever. But you also got to remember this: soul tie is something that's real. So doesn't matter if you're with your partner or your husband or your wife, and then you step out of their relationship and have sex with someone else. There's a soul tie there. There's a soul tie there. And when there's a soul tie, regardless if you know your husband may be the best man in the world, who takes care of you, who pays the bills, who do what he needs to do, you still have a part of yourself on the opposite side of that road that's waiting for you. And that you want that individual and you think of that individual. Your mind is not solely on your husband anymore because you done made a soul tie with the other man across the street, which you cannot break on your own.
So here's the thing. For me, I feel like I agree, but I disagree because not everyone, feels that way. I think that depends on, and I feel like you're speaking more from a Christian aspect. I mean, I am a Christian as well. Um, but for me, I feel like there are some people that, they don't believe that. They believe that they can have sex and they're fine. And then there are those who do feel like, oh, there are soul ties. I'm not trying to really get into, well, no, that's not true, or yes, you're absolutely right. I think that just depends on your individual belief. Everybody's different. We all get attached differently. We have different beliefs. For some people, it really is just sex, and that's just that. And then there are people who, they go and have sex, and then they feel like they truly are connected to the outside person, even though this is not the person that they're married to. So, I think it just varies from person to person as far as soul ties are concerned.
I mean, that is true. I mean, everyone has their own choice at the end of the day. But yes, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
getting biblical, but it is biblical as well. But it is some truth to that. I mean, been there, done that in a sense, but everybody
Mm-hmm.
has their own opinion. But what I'm saying is, you know, self respect is number one. Regardless if, with a man, we know it's double standard. They can go out and have sex with 10 women and they good. But when we as women go hopping from guy to guy to guy to guy, we become a whore. We become a thought. We become a slut. We become everything.
Only because that's what society said, though.
Right. That's what society thinks. Right. But we also have to make sure whatever choices that we make as women, we first have to have that self love. We have to love ourselves enough. So whatever decisions that we're making and we're choosing to do with Joe, with Bill, or even with Sue, that we love ourselves first. And whatever decision that we make as a person and as a woman first, that we won't live to regret that at the end of the night or have
I
such.
would agree with.
Say that again.
I would agree with that. I definitely agree.
At the end of the night, because regardless of what, women are very emotional creatures. That we are. And we get attached very quickly. Some do. But men will look at us by going here, going there. We just like a street worker on the corner. Pay me 10 and let me ride. Pay me 20 and let me suck. However, but at the end of the night, we still have to have our dignity. We still have to have our self-respect, regardless of what decisions that we have made in our own lives. At the end of the day, we want to look back on our life and say, you know what, even though I did that, I'm not ashamed. Even though I made that decision, I'm okay with that. So we don't want to just jump out and do all of these things, and then you look back when you get be my age and say, but golly, was I a whore? Was I a thought? Was I all these things that men call women today? Or was it just something I made a decision on that that's the lifestyle that I wanted? And that becomes a lifestyle. It really doesn't become because I just want to go sleep with somebody because my got it going on. But it becomes a lifestyle after a while if you don't learn how to, to take care of that situation. Because you got to think about this as well. I forgot the word, the term of it, but how you continue to want sex all the time, like an addict. You may have a good husband or
Right.
boyfriend, but that's not enough. You just want to continue to pursue and have sex with different men or women because it can be addictive and it can turn into a sickness at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Again, for me, I always feel like there is no black and white. There are a lot of gray areas. So I feel like, it just depends on the person. Um for one person that could be the case, and then the next person absolutely far from that. So I don't like to speak in absolute terms because I know that there are, it's so many different factors that go into things like that.
It is.
So we don't know the whole picture. We don't know the whole story. So it's like
Right.
maybe this person is feeling this way because they had all these other things going on, or whatever. But it's to me, it's an individual basis. It's just person to person.
And you're so right. It's every individual, their choices that they make for themselves at the end of the day. Now let me ask you this question. Say hypothetically your son was a daughter
Hmm.
and she's 16, and like you say, it's open in your home, you talk about it and all of that. And in a run of a month you seen 10 guys. How would you have that conversation with her?
Me seeing 10 guys?
No, if you had a 16-year-old daughter and in the run of 30 days she done had 10 or 12 guys come in and out. How would you have that conversation with her? Would you tell her that's okay?
That's a really good question. Um, I feel like I would just want to talk to her because just because I see 10 guys doesn't mean she's having sex with 10 guys.
Let's say she is. Let's say she is having sex with 10 guys. She having sex with 10 guys, and you heard from a close best friend that she's doing everything, including anal, with no condoms. How would you have that conversation with her?
So that would be my biggest issue that she's not using condoms. For me, I would just want to talk to her and let her know, like, hey, if this is what you choose to do sexually, you know, I need you to be safe about this. Like, I'm not gonna tell you who you can have sex with and who you can't because at the end of the day, yes, I'm your mother, but I know it's just unrealistic for me to try to control your body. That's just unrealistic. And I feel like for me, my biggest priority would be making sure she's safe. But I feel like because of my field, like working in this field, I think that, and because I normalize sex in my household, I don't think it would be an issue with my children knowing about, okay, this is safe. Like, I have to have safe sex. My mom taught to me about putting on a condom correctly. I know how to do all of these things to protect myself. So yeah, I might be out here thotting and biting, but I'm being safe about it. And that's my number one concern. All the details, I don't want to know. I don't want to know the details. And that's including with my son too. I don't want to know the details of his sex life. All I want to know is, are you using condoms? You better be using them correctly. And that's my biggest takeaway.
Okay.
For
Now,
me, that's just for me.
right,
I
right.
feel again, 16, that does sound like, oh my God, your 16-year-old daughter. What I will say is I'm not going to facilitate that. If she's having sex with 10 different dudes, they must be getting a hotel or whatever because it's not going to be in my house. So I
Oh, now
definitely,
you know they know how to. You know they got the bike seat of a car. They got the
and
gymnasium at
they
school.
absolutely do.
You know they find a way.
You're absolutely right. But what I'm saying is that I'm not gonna facilitate that. However, like I said, I can't control her vagina. I just can't do that. I would drive myself crazy trying to control somebody else's vagina. I just need to worry about mine. So for me is you better make sure that you're being safe out there.
Okay, but the thing is this: I know you. Yes, we cannot control the vagina or the penis. We know that. But at the end of the day, as being a mother, okay, being a mother, now think about it. You're a mother. Your mother cannot not control your vagina. But how would that look at? How would your mother feel knowing that her daughter is here, there, here, there, here, there,
But see,
regardless?
this is the thing, though. This is the thing. As parents, we have to let our kids live their life. I know that's easier said than done, but I cannot have any feelings about my child living her life. My biggest thing for my children, any children that I have, their safety. That is my biggest concern. Please be safe. I would hope that she not just picking up dudes on the street corner. I would hope it's not that type of situation. However, for me, like, I can't worry about, oh well, it's talk that my daughter is sexually active and she has 5 sex partners. Okay, she's being safe about it. Like, my daughter is wearing condoms. Your daughter probably doing the same thing. You just don't know anything about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I have to be realistic. As parents, we have to be realistic. We always think that our children don't develop sexual thoughts and feelings until they're grown. That's not true. We don't just turn 21 and be like, oh, I feel horny now. I'm 21. I'm grown, so I can feel horny. No, we have sexual thoughts and feelings from the womb. So, with that being said, I feel like I can't act like that's not the case. I can't try to suppress my child's sexual thoughts and feelings. I have to let them live their life And the only thing I can do as a parent is just teach them how to do it safely, teach them to protect themselves, prevent them from unintended pregnancies, prevent them from STIs and HIV. That's what my job is as a parent, not to control who, when, what, where. I'm not a helicopter parent. That's just not my parenting style. My mother is, or whoever's mother, there are helicopter parents who want to try to control the narrative of their child life. I don't want to do that. I want my child to develop their own sense of values when they go out into the world, because that's what they're gonna do anyway. This is gonna do that anyway, and that's just the reality of it. I don't know. Maybe that's my millennial mindset, but that's just how I choose to parent. We have to adapt to the time. It's not 1960 anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, people enjoy sex, including teens. They're not gonna not have sex just because, oh well, my mom don't want me to do this, so I'm not doing it. There are teens out there that will wait and practice abstinence. However, there are other teens that will not. And that's just the reality of the situation.
But would you prefer your child to wait at the end of the day instead of losing their virginity at an early age? And the reason why I'm saying that
For
is
me personally, my only preference, or what I would hope, is that when my child decides to lose their virginity, it's a decision that they truly have thought about, and that they truly understand, any, like, everything that comes with sex. That's my only hope. I don't care about, oh, wait until you're married, wait until you're 21. I don't care about that, because that doesn't matter to me. And that, again, that's just my opinion, but that just doesn't matter to me as a parent. To me, I want to make sure it's on their terms. They wanted to have sex because they wanted to. No one pressured them to do it. They weren't, forced or coerced or anything like that. Consent was given. It was something that they actively wanted to do. I would hope that they talk to me about it, let me know, like, hey, I'm thinking about having sex, and that's a conversation we can have. But that's my only hope. I'm not that parent that is, I don't plan to stress, oh, you better be abstinent only and wait till you're married. That's just because, like I said, for some kids, that's not reality. Yes, I'm going to present the options out there and let them know, hey, abstinence is the only 100% effective method to keep you safe from pregnancy and STDs and HIV. However, I have to let them know all of the options that they have. I can't just enforce one without the others. And like I said, I would just hope that they make the decision that's best for them. And as the parent, I just hope that I can be there to support them and make sure that they are safe in doing so. Now, I'm
right.
not saying I'm going to be dropping a 12-year-old daughter off at her boyfriend's house for her to go have sex. That is not what I'm
Well, I
saying.
hope not. I hope not.
That's not what I'm saying. I don't want
Even
nobody
when we
thinking
drop,
like,
even when we drop our kids off to the best friend house, they have some clothes in the bike pack and then jump in another car and still hit the road. So, we know the game
Exactly.
because we played the game. But what I'm saying is, every parent have their own different parenting styles. We know that. But at the end of the day, no parent want their child to come home pregnant as a teenager. No parent want their child to come home with an STI or STD or with HIV. No parent wants that. No parent wants their child to come
Absolutely.
being a 12 or 13-year-old mother at that age and don't even know how to be a mother because they're just a child themselves. So even though no matter what parenting style anyone has, we still have that fear as mothers because we don't want our child or children to be able to come home and say, Mom, I'm pregnant, or Mom, I have HIV, or Mom, I was raped. I was gang raped because I was out there just giving myself, and everybody thought I was so easy. I just gave myself to whoever, and then one guy took it from me. So it's okay to have an open parenting style if that's the way that some parents may choose. But we also got to look at the repercussions behind that. What could and can happen at the end of the day. We cannot control our children. Truly believe our parents could not control us. But what we need to do is make sure that we put everything in place. So what if something did happen? They would be able to say, okay, you know what? I have options. Or if HIV presents itself, what do they need to do? And not have that fear of, I done all this and I done slept with 5 or 10 men or guys, and now I have something because now they call it nasty or a skank or a whore because I deserve this. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all about. That's why you have to talk to your child and present the options. Because you're right. You know, if we're being honest, at the end of the day, some teen pregnancies are simply because parents don't educate their kids. You're telling your daughter, oh, you know, if you kiss, you gonna get pregnant, or the baby come from the stork. If you telling your child that, then when they have sex, they're not gonna think they can get pregnant. So it's like that's why you have to educate them properly and let them know, like, no, you have sex, you have sex. The sperm fertilizes the egg, and that's
Uh-huh.
how babies are born. You have to let them know the realities of sex, so then they know, you know. I would hope that my 12-year-old daughter, being the parent that I am, given that situation, I don't think I want to do this right now. And again, I want it to be her decision or his decision. This is not something that I'm not ready for. Me and my mom talk about this, and I don't think I'm ready for it right now. I want it to be her decision. I don't want it to be because she felt peer pressure or she felt the pressure from a boy or girl telling her, like, oh, if you love me, you'll do it. No, I want my daughter and my son to be like, okay, I don't love you that much. I love myself more. Like, you're not going to change my mind. I said no. And bye. I don't need you. I don't need you. Bye. Do you know who I am? I can get any man. I can get any girl I want. And, that's the kind of confidence that I want to instill in my child.
And that is so great. That is so great. And I know time is winding down, but I'm gonna have you back. And this time when I have you back, it's gonna be on my couch, okay? So I
Yes.
can touch you, girl, and maybe get things a little cracking a little bit more. But I thank you. I truly thank you for coming on tonight with me, and I thank you for all the information, and I thank you for Calm Diary. Like I said, Calm Diary is a trip, but it gives you a lot of information, and for
Absolutely.
individuals 21 and older who may want to get your groove on, please watch Come Diary. If women 50 and up trying to get your groove right like Stella, go ahead on and watch it. It will educate you. So I do thank you on tonight, Miss Brianna. I love you so dearly, and I will
Thank you
see
for
you
having me.
next time.
Absolutely.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.